when Richard called, I felt like he was just like putting my, you know, how God puts you in your path, and that's how I feel. I also have a part-time job as the opioid, it's the opioid project outreach coordinator for the region here, Region 6. So I work a lot with people who are going into recovery, coming out of recovery, need to be in recovery, because it's just a huge problem here.
I must have missed it. Who are you?
I'm the librarian.
I did miss it then.
Yeah, I'm Tammy Barlow. I'm the outreach coordinator here at the library, so I'm always out in the public. And but anyway, just to say, I think Richard was put in our path for a really good reason. And this is Richard Plasso. And he's going to tell you a little bit about how he came to this. And Richard's story is really inspiring, so I think it's a great story. We have water on here too, so Richard, you can go ahead and get started.
I'll try to make it as quick as possible because I have food over here that's warm. It's taken me like the last 3 hours to pack it. I hope y'all like it. When you eat keto food, you have to understand it's a whole palate change. It's going from standard American diet, things that you used to have, and then changing the way that you want to eat. If you think about this as temporary, if you think about this as a diet, those people are more apt to fail. It's something that you want to get into, you want to try to stay into. If you want to use it as a diet and you think you can keep that mindset and it works for you, then by all means do it. But me, I feel this is my life now. Learning how to live low glycemic has healed me from a number of conditions. I went from being, and if I get emotional, you know, this I was abused very badly as a child. Scars all over my body every single day. And the lady that did this was not necessarily my mother. I didn't know who she was. And this happened for years. I was locked in rooms, tied up and beat, horse whips, bars, bats, everything. I'm reminded every day of what happened to me. And I didn't know how to live my life. At 13 years old, I ran away. And I lived on the streets. This is my 5th time running away. And I was homeless. I didn't know what to do. I went to the police. They found $4.5 million worth of cocaine in their home. They found $250,000 worth of marijuana. The kids were all taken in foster care. I went through 9 different foster homes. I never had a family. My mother and my father now still have not adopted me. I went to the military. I didn't know anything about life. I just struggled. Moving from home to home to home, tormented. PTSD, anxiety, depression. I did all these things. And I didn't feel like I had a family until I went to the military. And then it changed. But from back in my foster care days, 17 years old, my parents, one of my foster parents said, let's do Atkins. I started gaining a little bit of weight. I wasn't feeling so good. I started doing the Atkins diet. Started feeling good. Lost a little bit of weight that I had. I dropped out of school at 17 years old. I said, you know what, I'm ready to work. School's not for me. Well, I felt so good with eating the way that I did on the Atkins diet. I had 2 different jobs. I had so much unharnessed energy that I couldn't really sleep. So I got a janitorial job from midnight to 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd get off work and I'd drive to the construction site and I'd blow cellulose insulation all day. Until I got tired of doing that, my foster father asked me, do you want to be a supervisor and run the Chicago Tribune, west side of the Kankakee, Illinois area? So I became a supervisor at 18, almost 19 years old. And I'm running a crew of 14 people, paying them, writing checks, going out to customers' house, doing customer support. And this lifestyle, I was able to sustain this lifestyle because of how easy it was. I was able to pack little, protein snacks and stuff away, fat snacks and stuff away, and never gain weight because of that. Because it was so low glycemic and it was healing that I continued to progress, and I just felt amazing being on the Atkins diet. So I decided to not even come out of the induction phase like it said when you read the book. There's a process you go through. I enjoyed being in the induction phase in ketosis and feeling the ketones and stuff surge in my body and stuff. I was able to stay up. And this is a common problem whenever you first start the ketogenic diet or an Atkins style diet. I don't do Atkins anymore, I do keto now. But learning to live this lifestyle, I went to the military, and I continued living the lifestyle in the military after that. And then I got out of the military, and I got married. I got divorced a year and a half later. The things that happened to me in the military were not kosher. I got hurt. I hurt both my knees. I messed up my brain. I had all kinds of problems going on. So when you take being abused for so many years, and then 9 foster homes, and then having to go through a divorce and a woman taking you for $22,000, regardless of if the shoe would have been on the other foot or a man doing that. This is all the snowball effect. It destroyed me. My brain was hurting. My body was hurting. I started gaining weight after I got hurt. I couldn't get it under control. I mean, I was always 215 pounds, 220 pounds jacked. The guy that everybody wanted to run like and be strong like until I got hurt. And then my life changed. 3 or 4 years of nothing but fast food and trying to find everything that I could possibly do to stuff in my mouth to like suppress the feelings that I had. And it made me feel good. But I got up to almost 400 pounds. And about almost 3 years ago, I started saying to myself, you were already doing a keto style diet. You were already doing the Atkins diet and things like that. You can go back to it, why not? So I started digging more into ketogenics. And the first month I lost 15 pounds. The second month I lost another 12 pounds. The third month was my biggest month. I lost like 22 pounds that month. It just started falling off of me, and then it started to slow down a little bit. And then I started, this is for me. How could this be this simple and this easy and this relieving, and I don't have to even think about it. I just need to know to stay away from sugar, refined carbohydrates, minute my fruits, have some low glycemic green vegetables and stuff, proteins and fats. Can I do that without even counting? So Dr. Eric Westman is one of the longest running doctors in the ketogenic field. He's been doing it since 1980, and probably before that he followed Dr. Robert Atkins. So I follow his method for the most part. I figure out what keto foods are, and I eat it until I'm satiated, I'm full. And that's how I live my life. There are people that have to write everything down like crackers. They need to know what's going in their mouth. They need to know how much is going in their mouth. That's how they live their life. Most of us can't do that. We have crazy lives as it is. But if I could show you a diet that you could just go eat, you didn't have to think about it, and it was already low glycemic and very human, most people are going to come to that and say, well, that's what I want to do. I don't want to count all this stuff. So I live that lifestyle now, and I teach it to thousands of people all over the world. I just want to help everybody that can possibly help. And what it's done for me, I was a pre-diabetic. My A1C was 5.9. My triglycerides were almost 200. My total cholesterol was 300. My LDL was through the roof. HDL. Now I sit at, my triglycerides are about 52. My HDL is 60. My LDL, if you follow numbers and stuff, these are good numbers. My LDL is right at 108. Most people are a little high. Over the standard recommendation is 70. Mine sits at right at 108, which the standard recommendation is kind of junk anyway. Most people across the world have a little high LDL. And I feel amazing. My total cholesterol is now 170. I live my life not in fear anymore. I don't have to worry about pain, and my knees are shot to this day. I can't, if I go to the doctor and I look at my knees look like a 65-year-old man's knees. I have so much arthritis built up in my knees to this day. They don't know how I'm doing what I'm doing. It's because of this diet. You learn how to eat, and your body will take care of you just like you're taking care of it. If you don't learn how to eat, inflammatory markers raise, everything in the body starts going to crap, and then you have to start worrying about what am I doing to myself, but you don't worry about that until it's too late. And then you're trying to figure out how do I fix it. For some people, it's too late, they can't fix it. But if you're here now, you want to fix it, we can do it. That's my story.
Amen to that.
So, you guys want to eat? You want to try some food?
Oh, man.
I've been watching you on Facebook. God.
Yeah, 175, down from 240. That's just since I started that, but I was up to 260. When I lived here in Indiana, I was at 260.
In Louisiana?
Yeah, I used to live in,
Oh, that's right. I
when I was working.
I tried to keep it warm now, but it was difficult.
Last time I was here was probably 2013.
You go the old same way I got. Well, I'm 45 miles out from here. But I I stay close by. I live in
I got one.
I think he lives in Gina. Which way is that?
Gina would be
One south, I'm going east, right? East,
southeast.
southeast.
Those are people, when I sing the gospel quartet, our bass player, no, our
whole, but I like
bass player, piano player was from Gina.
This one is a pepperoni
Pass
and
them all
carrot sauce.
forward, I know that.
Well, he works
This
at,
one is, this one is a
Really wood.
bacon, like a breakfast, bacon barbecue sauce. What I did was I took 3 cups of mozzarella cheese,
decent mechanics.
Let's see what I can.
2 cups of almond flour, 2 ounces of cream cheese. That's 6 feet.
But
You can't eat too much cheese, but if you're, you need to figure out what it is. So some people want to eat it without.
it's always better if you can do it
It's
yourself.
like Friday and one.
But even like me, like after church, sometimes we go to what we call second
Cook up a
Baptist
kilo
church.
pizza or something like that.
Whataburger.
No big deal. I mean, cheese is, cheese.
And,
You don't have to work.
but I go in there and I order a double meat Whataburger with double cheese, and then I'll get bacon and some guacamole on the side.
You
And
can
I
take
have
some
to tell
cheese
put
in
all
a
the
skillet
vegetables
and just throw it around the bottom of the skillet, melt it
except
aside.
for onions. I don't put
It'll
raw
actually start to
onions.
harden a little bit.
Just
on the bottom.
me, I don't
And
like
you'll
it.
see if you get
But anyway, and then I'll order a package of
Start shaking it
ranch
around, once it
dressing.
starts to
So
move.
I make a little salad on the
Pop
side,
it out
I
like a
got my
tortilla.
meat,
You can wrap it up like a
I
tortilla
order
shell,
it
like a
out.
dowel, or your,
They put it in a tray,
like 2 bowls.
and
And
that's
take
what I
that
do
cheese
if I
and
go
then go over,
to,
make homemade
if I go to a
tortilla
fast
shells all
food
down
restaurant, I'll
Or
order
you
a
can-
no bun.
Or you can take it with toppings on there.
Yeah, but, yeah, so.
All grains, period.
Did mine without
What I did was,
Now, you know, I'm at a point where I'm literally a half a pound away from being
pulled
at
it out,
my,
2 cups of almond.
my goal weight right now.
I just kind of worked
This
all
is
that
my
almond
weight
flour in
is
there,
75.
and then I took 2 eggs,
Five,
and switched the eggs and
so
stuff
I'm
in.
like a half a pound.
And then I just got my
I'm
hands
gonna
real light
start
wet,
introducing
put some parchment paper
a
on
little bit
a pizza
more
pan.
carbs in my diet.
Kneaded
Like
my
I have
fingers
maybe
all the
a
way around,
French
spread it out.
you know,
Pop it in the oven,
like
put
two
the
ten
whole
French
ball
fries
around,
or something like that.
pop it in the oven
A
for 15
little
minutes,
bit
pull it
more
out, pull it out,
starchy
pop it, put it back in for another 15
vegetables.
minutes.
But,
And every once in a while, I'm gonna go out and have one.
That's it.
I was thinking
It's very low. It's
Still got my
so-
hiccup
Some people,
because sugar
some
will
people
spike
have
you up really high. I did a test here,
dairy,
in fact, I wear this thing,
salt.
I wear that thing. It takes a blood sugar reading every 5 minutes, 24 hours. a day. And, it goes to my mom. But it, like right now, it's 91.
This is a.
But, when I did that test, I had 3 donuts, chicken donuts, I had 3 of them. And
That's my homemade barbecue sauce.
scarfed them down, and it went up as high as like 167.
That's,
And, yeah.
that
And
one's
then it,
that's a.
yeah, blood sugar.
Style.
Yeah, blood sugar. And then, it came back down, but the guidelines is you're supposed to be back down under 140, and it took 3 out. But, like, when I went to, Mexican restaurant, I ate, and, you know, I had like beef fajitas and stuff like that, but I didn't have a fried tortilla. But I did eat 2 baskets of chips. And I had the beans and stuff, which I don't really eat. And it went up to about 163, but it came back down under, like 128 for 2 hours.
The sugar.
So that's good. But it's just, when you got a lot of high fat, high carb, and a lot of sugar, it's really hard for your, my body's repairing itself. I'm almost, back to normal. But if you change and start going back to eating that other way, you would put yourself right back in the same problem. But I'm at a point now where I got a little bit of flexibility that, if I want to go out and splurge every once in a while, I can do it. And like I said, I'll probably start
It's
adding.
cheese.
Todd, she likes to cook.
Cream cheese.
She'll cut up sweet potatoes and French fries.
Yeah.
And put a little oil
But you
and
can-
put sea salt on them and eat bacon and fries.
So
She made some here the other day, she fried them in,
you can.
Oh, yeah.
I just ate a piece about that alone.
I go get a
And,
bag of
oh, it was so good.
bird's eye rice.
But,
It's already
yeah,
rice.
it's, a lot of it is,
My recipe.
just
I want to
eating
make it
whole
easy for
foods.
people. I take that
You
back.
do have to go out and try to eat.
Like more egg, like more.
Eat fish, and if I go to like Chili's or someplace like that, Saltgrass Steakhouse, you can eat pretty good there with the steak. Red meat.
Sounds like it's not a problem.
Oh, no.
And that's, I put it over a bed of,
Oh, what about that?
I grill it. This is a true story. I get up in the morning and have organic cereal with a bottle of water.
Are coconut flour and almond flour,
Have that.
interchangeable?
Breast cut up over a.
Yes.
How is your-
Coconut flour has
How's
a
your
strong
blood
taste.
sugar right now?
It's kind of difficult to get used to that sometimes, but
When you
it's
hear
still
me
good
giving
for
you
flour.
this money, you're gonna want to go check it before we leave.
Well, how do you take?
Hear what I told you? I asked him what his blood sugar is. He said, I don't know, I ain't checked it in a long time. I said, before we leave, after you hear my testimony, you're gonna wanna go check it before you leave the building.
So while we're eating, I'll just ask a question. So, what have you heard about keto? I'm gonna start giving some stuff away as well. There's some authors, some of the world's best authors that have sent me books. Maria Emmerich, I don't know if you've heard of her. These are her books here. She sent them to me, trying to help me out in the seminar. Megan Ramos, she sent me the obesity code from Dr. Jason Fung and the diabetes book from him, as well as if you're in ketosis and you want to test, there's little strips, they can be used. They're not super accurate, but they can be used.
Is there anybody here diabetic? Ask that.
Alternative sweets, they sent me a bunch of really clean barbecue sauce, ketchup, stuff like that. And then Rayo's, this is the spaghetti sauce I use. It's the lowest carb count that I've found so far, and it's the cleanest. It doesn't have a bunch of junk in it. It is more expensive. It's like $6.99 to $7.99 a jar. And I typically just use a regular fine milled almond flour, just like this.
Where'd you get the video for?
Most of your big stores have it. Walmart had it. I found it at Kroger. The big, like Costco and Sam's, they have their own specific ones I think that they use or something, but that's it. So, what's something you've heard about keto?
That you can drop the pain?
Good or bad?
Oh, it was good. Well, too, I've just only been started since about the 20th of January, but I'm trying to eat everything I can, you know, and it's all been good, and so far it's been effective for me.
Are you diabetic? Are you?
No, my knees cannot carry my weight anymore, and I don't like being heavy. I want to be healthy.
Okay.
So that I can live long enough to see my grandchildren, you know, have children, those sort of things, you know.
This is a plus then. Would you like the comfort foods, the restaurant favorites, or the Instapot?
Or the what?
Instapot.
Oh, no, I want the first one you said. The comfort food.
Keto comforts?
How did the recipe prove it?
Oh, I was just reading about her.
Can I take a picture of you with it? I'm gonna send
Absolutely.
it to Maria Emmerich. Thank you.
Mm-hmm,
You
thank
say you need the recipe?
No, recipe, I don't like to do it.
My mother, she's a diabetic, she is 67, and she's been suffering with diabetes since around 50 or so. And her sister passed away, her legs were amputated, so she passed away. And so it's important for us in this generation, in my family, to make sure that we're eating healthy. And my mother, right now, she had a fall, and she is having a lot of back problems. She's already had 2 surgeries. And so, just a little stubborn. When we get older, we just get it set in our ways. So I was trying to let her know that I heard about this diet or this lifestyle. I try to call it a lifestyle because when we think of things as diet, we veer off. And you know, keep thinking this diet. But I told her about this keto, and I was gonna try to you know, get some recipes, and will she be willing to try some of it? She's fine with it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to implement my mother into this diet to where she can still feel, okay, I'm not eating right, but I am eating right, because I can't get her off of those, you know, that eating bad. She has a bad eating habit, so.
So, which one? You want the
Which ones did you say? I'm sorry.
restaurant favorites, keto Instapot, the diabetic code from Dr. Jason Fung, the obesity code from Dr. Jason Fung, or any of the other stuff you see.
Restaurant favorites.
Restaurant favorites.
So what's in this crust for the cheesecake?
Those are, it's almond flour. It's 3 cups of almond flour, 5 tablespoons of butter, and 3 tablespoons of stevia. Who else?
Do you have, like, I've heard that you have to have, like, the fat, so much percentage of fats.
It's subjective. There are some people that say you have to start out at 75%. Other people, they're successful with 65% fat. The goal
With
is to get yourself into ketosis. And ketosis is not to be confused with ketoacidosis. So a lot of people on social media will try to scare you and say, well, that's dangerous for you. You're going to be in ketosis and your blood sugar is going to be high and your ketones are going to be high. That's false. There are some diabetics that have to be careful with that and have to test themselves often. But for the majority of us, that's not the case. What ends up happening in all actuality is your blood sugar actually decreases on its own. I ate like almost 4 pounds of meat yesterday because I was just hungry all day. I worked out the night before. I was doing really fast sprints. We call them in the military 6120s. Well, I run as fast as I can for 60 seconds and I walk fast for 120. I did this for 3.5 miles. So my body was really deprived of nutrients. So the following day, it really hit me. I was just so super hungry throughout the day. I ate almost 4 pounds of meat.
And that's okay?
And that's fine for me. That's what I do.
Right.
That's not what the ketogenic diet is, but that's what I do. And I was craving meat. I wasn't craving vegetables or anything else. I wanted protein. I wanted fats. That's what my body was craving. I've been keto adapted and fat adapted for so long. And the fats that you're having are healthy fats that promote satiation, hormone production, cholesterol production. There's a number of things that just energy levels and stuff throughout the day as well are all based off different amounts of fat and protein. Now, if you've got a lot of fat on your body to lose, you don't have to have 75% fat, but that is the recommendation to start with. If you start at 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbohydrates, you just run that for 2 or 3 months until you become adapted to the lifestyle, and then you can start changing a little bit. You can start saying, hey, I'm just not doing that well off that much fat. I want to decrease it a little bit and increase my protein. Or leave your protein the same and give yourself a little bit more green veggies and stuff, whatever you feel like you like. Now, I went through a process where I limited my veggies because I had digestive issues. And I realized the more veggies I ate, the more digestive issues I had. So I had to actually start cutting back on them for a long time. And now I can add them back in. I can have full-blown big giant salads and stuff. The whole goal here is to not really focus on numbers right away as much as the quality of the food that you're eating. Ketogenic food, simply steaks, pork, chicken, fish, seafood, any kind of greens, spring salad mixes. Be careful with these romaine recalls and stuff like that, like that. Yeah, but overall, just low glycemic food, non-starchy foods, no potatoes, no carrots. You can't. Some people add carrots in, but it's not. It's still got a starchy base to it. Some people say it's fine, some people don't. But it's just trying to keep your carbs and your sugar as low as you possibly can. So if I keep my carbs to a level of 50 total grams of carbs per day or less, whatever you see in the carb count, just count it. A lot of people are saying take away the fiber, take away this, take away that, and that gives you. I don't do that carbs. I don't want to even mess around with that. I don't even want to take a chance of not knocking myself out of ketosis. I'm looking at 50 total carbs when I first start out. And then eventually, as I progress, I would like to back the carbs down some more, and then down some more. And now I'm to about 20, 25 grams of carbs per day. And there's a lot of times where I'm down on 10 or 15. I've had a big, giant, full-blown salad and everything, and I had no issue at all. It's just eating real food. Now, these fats that people talk about, they make it seem like it's so super hard. You're going to be sticking gobs of butter in your mouth. It's not how this is. It's not how it works. It's healthy fats. It's avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, saturated fats from meat, animal products, and stuff that we've been told for so long is so dangerous to our body. It's the complete opposite. When you reduce refined carbohydrates and sugar, and you eat good, healthy, natural fats, your arteries and stuff don't inflame. Your inflammatory markers and stuff don't rise. They stay lower. This is where the curing of type 2 diabetes, PCOS, fibromyalgia, the things that we're ill with every single day start to decrease. Because we've now changed the way we eat. Everything's low glycemic. The inflammatory markers are way down. Your cholesterol and stuff starts to regulate 4, 5, 6 months later. And all of a sudden you feel like a completely different person. But it's a commitment. I mean, it's not like today you can start it and expect to be in ketosis by tomorrow. If you start it today, it's going to take you a couple days to get in ketosis. It's going to take you about 2 to 3 months to become adapted to the lifestyle. And then to be fully like okay with the lifestyle where you can just go to somebody else and tell them what you're doing, explain things, it usually takes about a year.
Yeah.
So with the length of time that I've been doing this, I'm just so used to explaining things to everybody and teaching people and stuff like that that it's just second nature to me to be able to explain it. I'm not scared of saturated fat. There are times where I've had 250 to 300 grams of saturated fat per day. If I'm training, so what I did was I lost a lot of weight. I got a lot of loose skin, and I started bulking back up. I've been at gym right now for the last 5 months trying to get as big as I can to take up for the loose skin. Now, I progressed as I got into this diet further and further and further. It turned into a lifestyle. Now that it turned into a lifestyle, my body doesn't get as hungry anymore. So I might wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I just want a glass of water. I'm going to work. My energy level was fine. My sleep was phenomenal. I get up, I go to work. I'm not even hungry at the lunchtime, sometimes 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because my body is so satiated with good, healthy fats, quality proteins, good low glycemic carbs. Now I'm fine. My energy is stabilized, and I just don't eat as often. It's natural. You don't even have to stop yourself from eating anymore. It just happens. So when it starts happening like that, the thing is to listen to your body.
Yeah.
If you're not hungry, don't eat. Simple as that. If you don't meet your macros for the day, a lot of times you don't have to focus on hand jamming everything every single day. Oh, I got to get in this. If you're not hungry, don't eat.
What is macros?
Macros are your macronutrients, the stuff that's on the back of it. So carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Micronutrients are the things that make up that, the different types of potassium, minerals, stuff like that, electrolytes. And when you start a ketogenic diet, you're going to feel a little wonky in the beginning sometimes because you're not having enough sodium and potassium. So what I do is I make something called Ketorade, or it's called Ketorade, like Gatorade, except it's Ketorade, Ketorade, Ketorade. And there are some recipes out there where I take sodium and potassium and I make a sweet drink up, flavor it or something like that, and I drink it throughout the day. Or I might make up some electrolyte ice cubes. I come up with my own concoction. I'm trying to work on something right now that I can share with everybody that's a concentrated formula. And you say, I know I need about 1,500 milligrams of sodium today because I'm not getting enough through my food, or 1,000 milligrams, and I'm a little low on my potassium. So I'm going to make up a concoction the night before and I'm going to freeze it. And then the next day I'm going to put those cubes in my water. By the end of the day, that tray's got to be gone. If that tray is gone at the end of the day, you done counted it. I mean, you don't have to count anything. It's already been done for you. You just let it slowly dissolve in your thermos cup throughout the day. You drink your electrolyte water. No big deal. Now, what ends up happening in the beginning is people don't have enough electrolytes and they get keto flu. And you feel lethargic. You feel lack of energy. You can't sleep very good. You might get some like diarrhea, stuff like that. This is normal. This all happens in the beginning. Anytime you change diets, hair can start falling out. Your energy levels can go wonky. You can feel like you're just kind of out of place. This is all normal. Anytime you switch to a diet like this where you'll start flushing electrolytes. You'll start urinating excessively. So it's important to hydrate, stay up on your sodium, stay up on your potassium-rich foods, and maybe even like some no salt. It's potassium chloride or cream of tartar. It's a pure form of potassium. It doesn't have any flavor. New salt is another type of potassium. You can get some Morton's light salt. It's got half potassium, half sodium. And just throwing some in your water throughout the day while you're just drinking it can stop you from having keto flu. But most people do get it in some shape or form. And it's normal. About 6, 7 days, 8 days in, and it goes away, and then you just feel like, wow, what happened? Like you wake up one day and it's just completely changed. Your body has to go through an adaptation phase. Everything's got to change. So if you want it, you can have it. You want a new life, you want all the energy and stuff back, quality of sleep, you want to reduce what's wrong with you, you can do it. But you have to want it. It's not something, I think I'm going to do it today, and then tomorrow, I'm going to have something else. And then the next day I'll go back and I'll try to get back on my keto food and I'll be back in ketosis again. It doesn't work that way. Once you're in, you need to hang on to it for a while. And there are some people sometimes that throw little cheat meals in from time to time, where they say because they built up the structure, they built up their personal integrity, they built up their strength to say, I'm going to go out with the husband today and I'm going to have our meal that we always had on our anniversary. And you have a regular meal and then you go right back to what you're doing. I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying But there are some people that have so much strength, they can do that. They can go say, I'm gonna go have our anniversary meal where we always go, and it's perfectly fine. But they make sure that they've been doing it for months and months and months before they even try something like that, so they make sure they're adapting to the lifestyle. So you go out and you have the regular meal, the next day you might feel a little off. You might feel like you're almost hungover because you just had all the extra carbs and sugar and stuff like that because you've been eating clean for so long. And then the next day you're like, man, something hit me like a truck. Back to the electrolytes, back to the water, get it back in you. It might take a day or two, but it'll come back. You'll get right back in ketosis because you've been living that pattern of being in ketosis. So the more you do that, the more your lifestyle becomes that. Even when you do make a mistake, you can bounce right back right away. There's no reason to beat yourself up over it. Now I'm going to quit. I screwed it all up. No, you get back up and you keep going. That's just how it works. That's life. We do that. So that's what I've learned with this, is if I make a poor choice, which I've made poor choices in the past, it's probably been about 6 months since I've made one. But if I see I want something, and I want it bad enough, and I know it's just not being silly about it, and I really do want it, I go eat it. But I know that after that meal, I'm going right back to clean eating. There's no reason to be a Nazi on yourself about it, or be on your, I don't know if I could say that. There's no reason to be that. There's no reason to be that hard on yourself about it. But we all have lives to live. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you know, you might have a husband who doesn't come along with it, but you're doing it, and it's hard on you because he doesn't want to do it. Well, sorry, dude, but I've got my conditions I got to live with. You want me around for another 20 or 30 years? I think your answer would be yes, so stay off me and let me do my thing and you do your thing. This is how it is. It's reality. I mean, I've heard so many people come back to me and say, well, my husband doesn't want to eat this way, and I got to make his food, and then I can't make his food and then make my food because I'm picking at his food and I'm eating it as I'm making it. The next thing I know, I've ate a plate of his food. Yeah. You got to have strength to do stuff. Or he's got to get up and make his own plate. Sorry. He's got to make his own food. It's just how it is. If you want to heal and you want it bad enough, I hear 1,000 different excuses with people that message me all day, call me up on the phone. I do private coaching and stuff like that, and I charge nobody nothing. I do it out of the kindness of my heart because of what I've been through. And I hear people, oh, I can't do it, and I made a mistake, and I for 3 weeks now, I've been just eating whatever. Why? Why didn't you just go back to eating keto? Well, I thought I messed it all up. No, you didn't. Just go back to eating keto. I mean, you don't have to put yourself in keto jail because of it. Let's continue. You make a mistake, you just keep going. It's as simple as that.
What do you think about the sugar alcohols?
Sugar alcohols, depending on what sources they're from. If you get them from like a xylitol can be used. It can be used, but keep it away from animals. Animals have a problem being around stuff like xylitol. Xylitol is very low glycemic, doesn't mess with your blood sugar, your insulin too much. Erythritol, same thing. Make sure if you're getting these things, they say non-GMO on them. Because a lot of them will be derived from a fermented corn base. So make sure it says non-GMO, and just get it, try to find a name brand company or whatever. I don't see there's too many on the shelf anymore that aren't name brand. But you find some of your best deals on Amazon. I can find xylitol at the store sometimes. I have used xylitol to make my cheesecake, and it actually came out closer to regular cheesecake than with stevia. But I use stevia just because it's from a plant. They don't make it in a lab. It's erythritol and stevia blend usually. You can get pure stevia, but if you get pure stevia, it's probably going to cost a little bit more. And the best one of them all, in my opinion, is monk fruit, but it's expensive. If you get pure monk fruit with no additives to it, if it's just pure, like you can look at Lakanto, there's a brand.
That's what I use.
Lakanto has a mixture of monk fruit and erythritol, which are still two safe sugars. They're fine, perfectly fine for diabetics, and it's better than regular sugar or sucralose or aspartame or something like that. Which even those things are still okay. There's going to be people that tell you, oh my God, you're going to get cancer. No. Aspartame affects people with conditions like PKU. I can't say the name properly. It's like phenylketonuria or something or whatever. I don't know. But they can't. Their brain has a problem with the phenylalanine amino acid. So aspartame affects those kind of people. But that's very rare, few and far between. So if you even had a diet soda from time to time, that's fine. It's not something that I would do daily because the more artificial sweeteners and sugars you eat that mimic sugar, even if they're real, the more cravings you typically get as well.
So when you count the carbs, I know you don't really count carbs, but if you are counting carbs, you said you don't look at the net carbs. So if you just do sugar, alcohol, you do the.
If you wanna use it, I would start this way. I would start net, subtract my fiber. Maybe if something has erythritol in it, half the erythritol, or like a sugar alcohol. See, I don't like doing that. I wanna tell you the way I do it. I don't wanna tell you the way that the social media tells you to do it or whatever. I just use total carbs. I don't mess with that area. I don't try to subtract things and do all that. I don't think it's important to me to do that because I want the best for me.
It's too difficult.
And I don't want to take 18 grams of fiber and then subtract 5 grams of, or 18 grams of carbs, subtract 5 grams of fiber, I'm left with 13, and then see I got 6 sugar alcohol, and then I'm having to divide and all that. No, I got 18 carbs, that's my allotment for the day. I'm taking that 18 away from my 50, and I'm left with, 32. I've got 32 carbs for the rest of the day. There's plenty of room that you can fit stuff in there. I don't like this net number and all the subtracting people are trying to do. They're trying to circumvent or sort of cut the system down. It leads to more cheating, in my opinion. 20 is what you eventually want to end up with. Down the road, 20 total carbohydrates is what most people that have been doing this for a long time do. And they're fine. They have green salads, they have, different types of vegetables and stuff, whatever. They make zucchini boats where they strip the center of the zucchini out and they'll chop it all up and they'll fry it in with their hamburger and they'll make like a fiesta boat where they put it all back in there with the hamburger and some salsa and sour cream and stuff. And they go to town. I make a lot of meals like that. Because I don't want, my life doesn't have to be boring because it says keto. And it doesn't have to be this social media stigmatism that keto is going to kill you or it's too much fat or whatever. These are ridiculous statements. The fats your body can use when you strip the sugar and carbs out of it. This is where you start healing. So this is where everybody needs to, yes, you're going to have more fats than you've ever had in your life. If you have a problem, if you have a gallbladder removal, anybody here have gallbladder problems? So people with gallbladder problems sometimes have problems with higher fats. They make digestive enzymes for that, oxbile salts. You can add that stuff in to help break down the fat and process it more efficiently. There's nothing wrong with that. If you simply have to pull back on the fat, that's completely fine too. If you've got fat on your body, you're not gonna go without. But having, in the first 3 months, it's critical to have enough fat to kind of get adapted to the lifestyle. Have that energy level and stuff throughout the day. And you're gonna feel like crap. There's gonna be a lot of things that happen that you're gonna make you think, man, well, should I be doing this? I'm gonna quit. I don't feel good. Push through. Simple as that. Push through it, drink water. I call it the Dr. Berry. Pinch salt, drink some sodium, drink water. You'll be all right. It's simple. Just push through it, keep your electrolytes up, and you'll eventually feel great. What else?
I see all the time on,
Who wants this Instapot book?
I just not answer.
Oh, I love my Instapot.
I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, it's supposed to
Okay.
I see on Facebook all the time, bulletproof coffee.
Oh, I love it.
Is it good?
What is it?
Bulletproof coffee is delicious.
What does it do?
Okay, it gives you energy in the morning. You wake up, you add a bunch of healthy fat to your coffee, you blend it up, you sweeten it up a little bit with some stevia, some erythritol, whatever you want. Gives you energy. It holds you over longer throughout the day so you don't feel like eating. And you're just up, energy, you're ready to go. You're ready to rock and roll. Come on, dude, let's go.
So it's good.
You can use it. You can use it. But me, people that I personally coach, 6 months down the road or more, I tell them to start limiting it. Cut back on some of that fat you put in there and start just relaxing a little bit until you get back to a maintenance phase or you're an athlete or something. You don't need 600 calories of bulletproof coffee. If you're going to do it, most people are fine with a tablespoon of coconut oil or MCT oil. MCT oil is used as energy even faster. MCT oil is medium chain triglycerides. Some of them have a C8, C10, C12 derivative. These are chains of triglycerides that your body can use immediately as energy. They go into your body. There's like a portal vein is what it's called, or a portal passage, straight to your liver. Gets used as energy immediately. It can actually boost your ketones. It actually helps bring your ketone levels up so you get more energy throughout the day. So it can be a benefit. But the standard ketogenic bulletproof coffee that you see floating around on social media with 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 2 tablespoons of butter, a bunch of erythritol, and blending it on, and all this whipping cream and stuff, that's a bunch of people trying to gain subscribers on social media. That is not what the regular keto coffee or whatever they call it. I would just throw a tablespoon of coconut oil or MCT oil in there, a little bit of butter in there if you want, maybe a little heavy cream if you want, a little bit of stevia or some erythritol. stir it up, drink your coffee, rock and roll.
1 cup. I mean, that's what I just do the 1 cup, it's not all
People,
day long.
I know some people that can have several cups and they do just fine. But I know the majority of people that I see do several cups, they stall out, they don't lose weight as fast.
No.
You're drinking too much dietary fat and you're not getting more from your food. Look up Dr. Eric Westman. He preaches getting your fat from your food more than anything is the most important. If it's attached to my protein, I'm more okay with that than bulletproof coffee, but bulletproof coffee does help a lot of people in the beginning.
What's his name?
What's his last name?
Dr. Eric Westman.
Westman?
What happens when it's out of your system, you don't crash, and then you know how some stuff you take in the morning, and at the end of the day, you just like.
You might experience stuff like that in the beginning, the transition phase. But after about a week or two, and even in the beginning, I rock and rolled with it. I got in it and I was just, for about the first week I was a little unstable. I was transitioning, I had the headaches, I felt like I had the flu, pressure in my head, and all of a sudden, 7th or 8th day, it went away completely. I was completely fine. I was sleeping great, I had all the energy during the day, and it just slowly became more my lifestyle after that. I just kind of fit right into the lifestyle.
Yeah.
There may be some of that in the beginning, but I've heard many people say, no, I just jumped right into it. And
Yeah, how do you, that's what I wanted to know, how do you, go from eating all this unhealthy stuff to just going into this thing? You can't, okay, today I'm going to eat keto, the next day I'm going to kind of play with something else a little bit, because.
So when people.
Yeah, go into it just,
When some people can go cold turkey and do it right away.
okay,
There's a lot of people that start where they're like, you know what? What's more important to me this week? Is it the rice or is it the bread?
but what would you suggest, like?
I suggest most people start slow.
Yeah.
I suggest in the beginning you start taking the bread out, you start taking the pasta out, you start taking the rice out, but making a conscious effort to be okay with it. Not making excuses for it. And the first time an excuse pops up, I'd write it down and send me a message on social media. I'll tell you if it's an excuse or not. I mean, seriously. Seriously, that's, most people make excuses for every single thing. Oh, I gotta have some of that right now. No, you don't. You're being way too lenient on yourself, and you got more. You're stronger than that.
Yeah.
You've got way more than what you got going on inside you. You just don't even realize it. They say we use less than 10% of our brain. So if you could wrap your mind around that, how much can you actually do in your life that you've never even tried? You don't push yourself enough. If you haven't followed a guy on the internet called David Goggins, he's had some of the worst, and be careful though, because he's very honest. He speaks his mind. So if a swear word comes out, if he wants to tell you how much of a sissy you are, it comes out. He just tells you. But he's lived he's a Navy SEAL. I think he's a Navy SEAL, right? David Goggins. He's had some of the worst life around. But it's all mentality. If you want to do it, you'll do it. And that's just simple as that. I mean, there are some things that set you back, but you'll figure it out if you really want to change. So jumping right into it, I don't suggest this today, like tonight, your first dinner is just loaded full. Clean your system out slowly.
Okay.
Start bringing everything down, bringing your carbs down to just your vegetables and stuff like that. And then you may even see, and I'm not trying to take anything away from keto at all, because I love it. This has changed my life. I will be this way for the rest of my life. But you may even see that as you do these things, wait a second, I just pulled out my Coca-Cola for the day, and I lost 5 pounds this week. Now I just pulled out my rice, and I've lost another 3 pounds this week. Now I've decreased my bread, and now I can have all my starchy vegetables along with the other stuff that I had, and I'm losing weight like crazy, so I'm not going to change anything right now. By all means, that is a sustainable lifestyle. If you're starting to see that reducing those things helps you and it makes you heal, then don't go full-blown keto. I want you to go there, but you know what? If you're finding something else that works, it's all about eating whole food and being healthy. It's not about being in some kind of keto cult or something like that and telling everybody they have, you're not keto. I'm not going to say it. No, if you're healing, you're healing. I mean, it's just simply taking the stuff out of your diet that could be causing problems. And if you get to a ketogenic standpoint, then you're there. But keto has healed me because of the low glycemic, very anti-inflammatory effect, where I take no medication. I don't wake up in nightmares anymore about things that happened to me in the past. My service dog lady right now next to me, she gets a full night's sleep. Before, when I used to sleep, she'd wake me up over and over and over again because I'd be from one nightmare into another nightmare into another nightmare. The woman running after me trying to strangle me or get hurt in Iraq or something like that, my dog would wake me up over and over and over again. Now she lays there in peaceful sleep all night. She didn't have to do her job anymore. She's a regular dog because of what keto did. So I urge you, If you're even semi-interested, don't just try cutting things out, try cutting things out slowly until you get into a ketogenic standpoint. But if you stop before that and realize you've hit a healing point, and you still have some of the other things, then do you.
Yeah. How can you tell, oh, I'm sorry.
When I started keto, I've only done it for almost 2 weeks, but I'm not losing weight and I'm in keto.
A lot of times, how much weight do you think you have to lose? You're not very big.
About 25 pounds.
I don't know about it. I'm not gonna tell you what you have to lose or what you don't. But when you get closer to your goal weight, it's so hard. It's so hard.
But even with this diet, it's still no hard.
When you get close to your goal weight, it's difficult because
You know you're in ketos.
I could
That was-
order instead.
this is where we're going here. You catch me?
I remember that one acting.
Well, I've read that those aren't as accurate as
They're
a
not.
meter.
The keto strips are not as accurate, but they work. They can give you an indication of what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not sure, there's a meter here.
Well, I've been trying to find a meter, and I can't find any.
You have to order them on Amazon.
You gotta get them on Amazon. They make Keto Mojo is the most popular one out there. It's called Keto Mojo.
That's what I use, it's good.
There's another kind called Precision Extra, but this is the most popular. It is the most affordable brand, and when you order it, Keto Mojo ketone meter. You get a little meter like this. And then there's a synchronizing chip that comes with it, is what I call it. I may be making up some of my own terms, but it'll suffice for what we're doing here. The chip here, you stick it in, and it should bring back the code that's on top of this chip. 939, that's the number on my chip, so I know my meter is synchronized or working or whatever you want to call it. Then you get a lancet, just like a diabetic. Well, you get the device that shows you the lancet, and then here, I'm going to do this in front of you guys. So if you squeeze or whatever,
So basically, my mother's meter won't.
it'll show you sugar, but it won't
Right,
show you.
it's on, okay.
This does both.
That does both, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So I already know that I've got really thick skin, so the settings are right here on the side. I've loaded the lancet, pulled back on it to load it. The settings are right here on the side. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know I gotta be on like level 5. So before I even start that, I've got glucose strips, and the brown label here is labeled glucose, and ketone strips that are labeled this green color. I've been eating a little bit of excessive protein lately, so my ketones have not been as high as somebody that's doing regular keto, because I do a lot of training, I eat a lot of extra meat, but I still stay in ketosis.
Do you think we should be doing some kind of exercise?
It'd be nice to do that, so,
And just so you know, the range of what they consider in ketosis is 0.5 or higher.
so it's asking for it right now.
So what happens when, if you adhere to ketosis, to a keto diet, and like for several days I was in ketosis, and then I wasn't on the strips, it was just like trace.
It'll happen sometimes because your body's starting to adapt. So my ketone level is 0.8, I'm in nutritional ketosis. It starts at 0.5, anything higher than 0.5 is in ketosis. If I was not eating so much protein, my number would probably be a lot higher. Because I eat more of a carnivorous style keto, but that's not what you guys are gonna do to figure that out on your own down the road. I like protein, I like fat, I don't really like vegetables so much. Well, most people like vegetables. And,
Well, it's different too with the style of work that you do.
right.
My
And
husband is a laborer as well, and I say laborer, he works hard, you sweat, you know. And the style of eating or whatever is different than someone that sits at the desk, I guess you could say.
But when you stop, your diet is still low keto, but there's no more ketonuria.
so when you stop showing on those sticks, what ends up happening is your body's starting to regulate. So your main ketone is acetoacetate. That is the main ketone that's produced in the body. You're going to see some ads pop up that say beta hydroxybutyrate, your main ketone. That's not your main ketone. Your main ketone is acetoacetate. That's made, it shows in your urine on the strips. What your body ends up doing is it says, I'm so smart right now, I know I could use a better ketone. I'm gonna start converting that into beta hydroxybutyrate, what we're testing here with the blood. And that's your dominant, that becomes your more readily available ketone. And that's what you can test with your blood. It's gonna be there pretty much all the time. It's not gonna go anywhere. And when you stop showing on those urine strips, it could mean that you're adapting to your lifestyle. You're just not making that ketone enough to show on the strips anymore.
Would that happen in that short a time?
Yeah, it can. It can.
Actually, from what I read, that in your urine is actually overflow. It's actually excess. Is that true?
It's excess that can't be converted.
Right.
Right. But there's some people's bodies end up adapting so much that they don't even have excess anymore. Your body just loves beta
But you can
hydroxybutyrate.
still lose weight.
Oh, yeah. That's what, that they say that's the key to unlocking the blood-brain barrier. Your brain is so smart that it can choose to use a little bit of glucose if it wants, or it can use ketone. But your brain really loves beta hydroxybutyrate. Your breath, that ketone, if you get a breath meter, there's a meter called the Ketonics, but it's about $250. It's really high end. It tailors to your phone. It keeps track of your ketones, and it tests your breath ketones, acetone. And that's where, in the beginning, you're going to get that keto breath smell. People are going to be like, oh, I didn't brush your teeth. Well, that's normal in the beginning. Eventually, it goes away. And eventually, you could get some odors from your armpit areas, under your breast, inside your legs. You can get like little rashy spots all over your body and stuff like that. It's called keto rash, keto breath. There's some smells that can come from down under. Some people call it keto kitty. It's your body's trying to regulate all its fluids and smells and pushing all the junk and stuff out of your body. So when you start seeing those rashy, prickly spots all over the place, that's your body trying to rid itself of toxins that have been built up in its fat stores for so long. And when you start losing weight, those toxins start coming out. They got to come out somewhere. A lot of times they come out through your pores. They get real prickly and rashy-like, and you're like, man, what's going on with me? I'm sick. And then you go to the doctor, and they're trying to give you all these medications and stuff. 9 times out of 10, you just find a generic skin cream or whatever for rash and stuff. It's probably going to be your best. You got to let it run its course. It's not just going to disappear. I mean, it's going to be there until it's ready to be done. They do make creams that can help with that, but it's not. It's not guaranteed to work. Most people find if they increase their carb count just a little bit, I'm talking if you're super low and you bring your carbs back up 10, 15 grams of carbs, it can help relieve some of that. But a lot of people try to cheat the system and say, you know what, I'm just going to start eating carbs again. And now all of a sudden that prickly stuff goes away because you're not burning fat no more. Well, guess what happens when you go back to going into ketosis again? It's going to come right back. You may as well just wait it out. It's just a little itchy, it's a little uncomfortable, there's nothing wrong with it. It's called keto rash. I have a video on YouTube about it. It's probably one of the most watched videos. I talk about all the different ways that people can eliminate keto rash. Some people use ox bile salts. Or digestive enzymes. They'll help with breaking down fat in the digestive system. Some people say that helps. Some people say using different creams help. Some people say using like a 75% water to AC or apple cider vinegar mixture and rubbing it on the rash alleviates some of that. You just really gotta let it run its course. That's the main thing. So the apple cider vinegar, I'm sure you've seen a lot of that on social media. They also make what's called coconut vinegar with the mother. It's even more nutritious than apple cider vinegar, but nobody's talking about it. It's got more potassium, it's got more amino acids, and it does exactly the same thing. How many of you have heartburn and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you're trying to drink milk and stuff to get rid of it, or like acidic stomach? A lot of people actually take a shot of apple cider vinegar in some water and they drink it, and it lets that flap and top close right back down. It's the exact opposite of what you're doing to treat it. You need to add more vinegar to it to get it to close back down and balance it back out. So we treat things the opposite way sometimes of what they need to be treated. So it's not that you might cure something with just a little coconut vinegar or apple cider vinegar and some water, drink it, and all of a sudden you're fine. Or when a baby gets real calicky, I've seen my uncle, I don't know how many times, they get a little upset stomach, he'll take some pickle juice and put it in a spoon and he'll just let them lick on it a little bit or just get it in their mouth. And then all of a sudden they start doing better 20, 30 minutes later and they're not spitting stuff up anymore. My uncle said, Mike, I see my granddad do it. And he said, so I've always done it. And I said, man, that works for me whenever I'm having stomach problems or gas problems or whatever. I'll drink a little apple cider vinegar or pickle juice and it'll calm me back down again. Instead of taking all those over-the-counter medications and stuff. So it's just something to think about. Who, diabetes code? Anybody? Diabetes code? Good to read?
I will, I'll take it. Yeah.
Obesity code. It's kind of like about everything. These are some of the best books you'll ever read.
Okay, yeah, I've got one.
I want to take, let me take pictures before you guys do. What other questions do we have?
I have a friend that, has been doing it since the first of the year, and she lost 14 pounds. But then, the last time she weighed, she had gained 4 back.
Yeah.
But she said she had not cheated or anything.
That's normal.
That's
It's
common,
normal.
very common.
But that's with any diet. No, that's normal.
That's
You don't-
any diet,
you don't
that's
have
right.
it. You know, I don't want to dig into your personal lives too much, but I think one of the things that I talk about more than anybody else does about this, we all want to change our health. We all want to heal. We all want the best for us and our families. But if your personal lives are in shambles, if you're not right with your loved one, if you're not right with your kids, if you're not right with your job, if financial burden has got you so stressed out, your cortisol levels are taxed all the time, you can do any diet in the world and have problems losing weight. So going keto and then knowing you have a slew of other problems dragging behind you and you're stressed all the time doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose weight. You may do it for 3, 4, 5 months because you're so stressed out, your hormones are all out of whack, you're not going to lose weight. You know, there is and a lot of people experience something I've been talking about more lately, leptin resistance. The more adipose tissue, fat you have on your body, the more leptin hormone gets released, the more your body actually starts to become desensitized to it. So when your body when there's excessive leptin release and it's overgrown, your body says, oh, I'm full right now. I shouldn't be eating anything. But if you've had so much adipose tissue for so long, and that hormone's always getting released all the time, your body can become resistant to it, and you need to stay the path. Stay on the diet, make it a lifestyle, run it long term, and eventually your body will start to adjust. And not only will it stop being resistant, it'll start being sensitive to it, and you'll actually start losing weight like crazy. I had an admin on one of my groups. She didn't lose weight for the first 6 months, but she felt amazing. Her brain felt good. Her relationship with her children and her job and stuff got better. She had so much more energy during the day, and she said, that's enough for me to stay doing this, because I haven't felt this way in years. 6 months, all of a sudden, that 6 month mark, 22 pounds, 1 month gone.
Wow.
Then 30 pounds over the next 2 months after that, and then she just consistently started dropping weight. It was just getting to the point where she healed her body enough for her body to start saying, okay, my homeostatic level. Homeostasis is where your body tries to achieve a level of balance. You can lose 10 pounds, 15, 20 pounds today, but then all of a sudden stall out for 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then start losing again. Your body is trying to achieve a level of balance. It's not used to that much weight not being there anymore. Your body tries to protect itself in a starvation manner or in a safety manner where it says, wait a second, I'm not about to let you start losing weight anymore because you've been dropping too much weight as it is, and I'm not used to this, so wait, let's pump the brakes. And then it stops. It's smarter than you are. It's smarter than a doctor is. It's smarter than science is. There's still stuff we don't even know about our body. So your body will actually try to fight you back, and you just got to fight through it, and eventually it'll say, all right, I give in. I'm ready to go again. And you start losing some more weight again. And this happens over and over and over again. It's a battle that you have to keep fighting. It's knowing what you want and trying to achieve. Well,
Is there an age? My daughter is 22, and she's very interested. So is there any suggestions for being so young? I mean, she's active right now.
children can do it.
You know, my kids are, I don't make them do it hardcore, but they're 11 and 13. And
Kids don't have a problem doing it. You're gonna hear your doctors tell you, oh no, don't do it, it's dangerous for them. Oh my God, yeah, because you don't want to come in there, they want you to come in there next month for that metformin or that insulin shot. I wish my father would listen to me. I've lost over 140 pounds already and gained muscle back, and I lose this. It's a program that I go through for myself. My dad's over 400 pounds. My dad will not listen to me. My dad's seen all the progress that I've made in my life, but because he's 63 years old and he thinks it's the powder butt syndrome. You know, it's my foster family. When I say my father, I mean the father that fostered me, my second family that later on in life, which you guys don't know a lot about me. And I hopefully in the future we can do this some more to learn more about me. He eventually came back around later in my life, and he actually kind of adopted me, but they're my parents now. They're the ones that I go to for the holidays and I talk to and stuff like that. He won't listen to me. Going to get shots in his eyeballs, neuropathy from his knees down. He left one of his appointments one time and kind of ran his car into the curb because he couldn't see. The ego was so, it was there where he didn't want to ask nobody for help. I almost lost him. So it's one of those things now where you gotta want it. And he just doesn't want it, he's giving up. My mom said, don't pressure him, because you pressure him, you're gonna make it worse. He's gonna push away from you. So.
Do you recommend fasting?
Mhm.
Because with keto too?
Intermittent fasting, like, you're gonna naturally do that anyway. You're gonna get to a point where you don't wanna really wake up and eat. It's gonna get to the point where you're just like, man, I just feel okay right now. I know I'm not really hungry. And intermittent fasting is a window from 16 hours of no eating, an 8-hour eating window. And once you get to that point where you're ready to go 16 hours with no eating and an 8-hour eating window, it's recommended to only have 2 meals during that period, but if you wanted 3, you could have 3 too. But it's just an 8-hour eating window, 16-hour fasting. But then some people open that window up even more. And at that 16-hour window, they're like, you know, I'm really not that hungry right now. I'd rather wait 18 hours. The longer you wait, the more healing you do. Your body gets into a phase called autophagy, where it actually starts, the bad parts of the cells actually start getting eaten by the good parts of the cell. Psoriasis, eczema, moles all over. I used to have moles all over my neck. I got one little mole left back here, where through forms of fasting, my body started eating all that bad stuff and getting rid of it. I like would literally fall off in the middle of the night, and I don't even know where.
Wow.
People with eczema and psoriasis and stuff like that, people with like diabetics. One of Dr. Jason Fung's remedies is taking diabetics through different forms of fasting so they become insulin sensitive and not insulin resistant. So how I like to explain type 2 diabetes is you sit down as a family and you got all these dishes. You got 5 people over tonight, a lot of people at the house, and plus you got five extra people on top of your family. You got all these dishes left over. Well, you get up, let's help. Come on, let's help Mom clean the kitchen up. Well, everybody goes and starts putting dishes in the dishwasher. Well, you overload that dishwasher, and you're still trying to cram more dishes in there, and she says, you know, I don't feel like getting up in the middle of the night or doing this in the morning again. Let's put the dishes in there, cram them in. Well, you start cramming them in there, you break the dishes, you break the dishwasher, and you don't get done right. Well, same thing with a diabetic. You try to cram so much nutrients in the cell, and it's already full as it is. So if you're insulin resistant, and you've already got so much nutrient density in there waiting to be processed already, and now you take more food and you cram it on top of it, you can't take that in. And you're producing more insulin, more food, more insulin, more food. What are you going to do with all that? Eventually it's going to become destructive. Dr. Jason Fung says, imagine a garage. A car's parked inside the garage, and you got this big old truck that comes along, and he tries to park in that one-car garage. He can't get in there, so he starts smashing into the car, and he busts the car out of the other side of the garage, and now the truck's messed up, the car's messed up, the garage is destroyed. Same thing that happens inside yourself. You get nutrients that comes in, insulin's trying to take it where it has to go, it's trying to do its job, it can't get it there, the door's not opening, and you're trying to cram the stuff in, you can't get it in there. Burst cell, blood pressure goes up, sugar's all over the place, insulin spiking, now you're injecting more insulin, just making things worse. So if you actually practice controlled forms of intermittent fasting as a diabetic with supervision, learn how to do it first, you actually end up healing yourself faster that way because now you're becoming insulin sensitive. So that's the whole goal here. Who wants come on, I need to get rid of this stuff. I'm gonna get you guys. This is this barbecue sauce is excellent.
I'll take barbecue sauce.
No, go ahead, because I got some, I want everybody to have some stuff too, I want to take care of something.
I know that's the way I feel.
Yeah. You don't give it away, I'm just gonna take it. Yeah.
I've already got it. Yeah, there you go. I'll lower up my Keto mode.
You want to come up and talk to him for a second?
Yeah.
We're friends, both keto people. He's on my group, I'm on his. So.
My name is Robert Schindler. I'm from a little north of Houston, about 30 miles, a little town called Cleveland, Texas. And I've been knowing Richard for a while, and He's a really good guy. He puts out good, solid information. And some people sometimes don't know how to take him because he tells the truth. And some people want to hear fluffed up stuff, and he don't give that. He gives the real stuff. So if sometimes you find on his group somebody, he's telling somebody something, that's because he wants to get the real truth out there. So anyway, I want to tell you my story. When I found out he was doing this event, I wanted to come over here because I used to live in Louisiana and I used to work here. And so I just wanted to come and share my story. I'm electronic engineer by trade. I used to work on all kinds of computerized laboratory equipment. I worked in everything from universities, pharmaceuticals, petrochemical, crime labs, everywhere. About 5.5 years ago, my diabetes crept up and got me. Okay. I actually was diagnosed back in 2006 when I had a stroke, and I was diagnosed with diabetes. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to tell today it has to do with my story, is not always believing what the doctors tell you. Because I've got still severe damage to my body from the diabetes, and I would go to the doctors, and I went through a transformation from metformin and other pills, and then insulin, and then got off of insulin and got back on insulin. I hope you're doing fine. Just keep taking, try to cut down, you can come back in 3-4 months. This went on year after year after year, and all this time I'm doing damage to my body, and part of what got me interested in this way of eating, it finally, just like a bell went off in my head when I heard this one doctor say, if your A1C is anything more than 5.7, even 1 point, if it's 5.8, you are doing permanent damage to your body. The little small capillary vessels in your feet, in your body, in your eyes, and there's only a couple of men in here, but if you don't want to lose the pencil in your lead, that's one of the things that goes. I'm trying to get mine back. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was impotent for a long time. I still can't feel below my ankles. I can't feel my feet. My legs are very weak. I can actually walk today. You can ask this man here, he knows me. I used to walk around with a cane. I was 260 pounds. And I'd walk around like this. Looked like I was 80 years old. Had to walk around with a cane. I'm now 175 pounds. I've only been doing this diet for, tomorrow will be 4 months. Wow. Now, not everybody's going to lose weight that fast. But anyway, the most important thing I can tell you is, don't let the doctors tell you it's okay. If you get your A1C checked and they say, hey, it's 7, you're doing great, just keep doing what you're doing. No, that's not good. You're doing damage to your body. You keep on doing it. You're going to wind up where I'm at. I've been out of work for over 5.5 years because it literally took me, I'm just now getting back to where I can walk. And I used to always have to go and get in one of those handicap carts at Walmart. I don't have to do that no more. But anyway, I came from, having lots and lots of medical problems. I had inflammation. I had sleep apnea. Of course, the diabetes. I was taking 4 insulin shots a day. And when I made the decision to go on this diet, and the one thing that made the most sense to me is a doctor, and he said, what did people eat hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago? They don't eat what we eat nowadays. They did have some grains. Usually it was the very poorest of poor people, but mostly they ate meat, they ate vegetables, and maybe once or twice a year they might have had some fruit. And so it started making sense to me, because all the dietitians that I went to, they told me to follow the American Diabetes Association diet. And that didn't do nothing for me but get me sicker. And, so you got to really retrain the way you think. But anyway, once I made the decision to start, in 3 days, 3 days, I was off my insulin. 3 days. And I was taking 4 shots a day. Now, I was wearing, and I did this with the supervision of my doctor, because I wear a constant glucose monitor. It takes a blood sugar read every 5 minutes. And so I was constantly watching it, but after the third day, I never took any insulin since. And it all has to do with the way you eat. And I think it was Jason Fung, somebody, one of the other really well-known doctors, said they shouldn't even call type 2 diabetes diabetes. It ought to be called a disease of your diet, because that's what it is. If you got type 1 diabetes, your pancreas is making insulin. But if you got type 2 diabetes, you don't need to be taking more insulin. But the doctors won't tell you that. The doctors want you to be on it. And as soon as I finally, it all registered and it made sense, I stopped. And I just stopped eating carbohydrate-rich foods. I stopped all the sugars and everything. At one time, I did follow what the dietitian said. And I would cheat. I didn't want to sit here and say, well, I'd go have a donut, or I'd go have this or that or something. But it don't matter. You can follow that diet to the T, and you still ain't going to get better. Because, if you're a real insulin resistant like I was, and as heavy as I was, you have got to heal yourself from within. And the way you do that is to change your diet. Eat good whole foods, just like Richard's been saying. And that will get you on the path to getting yourself better. But over a period, after 3 days, I stopped taking the insulin, and it just, my weight stair-stepped. I did have some days where it would go back up a few pounds, it'd go back down. But overall, I'm literally a half a pound away from my goal weight. So I wanted to come share my story with y'all and let you know how important it is, and also educate yourself. And you're gonna have people that are gonna tell you. I even had people that work in doctor's offices, some of my church members that come to me and said, that diet's bad for you, it'll make your cholesterol go up. Well, you know what? Yes, it will. It will make your LDL go up some. But the thing is, not everybody understands how keto affects your body. What moves around, when you start burning fat, you're not burning sugar anymore. Something's got to move that fat around your body. It moves through your lipid system is what moves it around your body. So yes, it will go up a little bit. But we won't get into all that. I don't want to get too technical.
We'll do that later.
Richard can do that another time. But anyway, but for the most part, I'm the healthiest I've been in my life. I don't have no sleep apnea. I don't snore anymore at night. I don't clear my throat nowhere near as much as I used to. That actually went away, and the snoring went away in about 2.5 weeks of being on keto. All the inflammation in my throat and everything just gone. I stopped all medications. The only thing I take now is I take a low dose of metformin still, and I may take that another 3 months, and I may get off of that. And I take my thyroid. That's the only thing I take. I used to take 2 or 3 blood pressure medicines. I used to take cholesterol, statins, and a bunch of other things. And I got off of everything. So my body is healing itself through the proper diet. And I call this ancestrally appropriate diet. This is the way we used to eat. We need to get back to eating the way that we used to eat. So, and that's pretty much my story. But I wanted to come share with y'all, to educate yourself. That's what I did. I got on YouTube. I started watching videos. I started listening to the doctors. Listen to these people that know what they're talking about. And you're going to have some doctors, your doctor, they may not agree with what you're doing. I'm very fortunate. I got an endocrinologist and I got a doctor that are behind me. But not everybody's going to have that. Your doctor's going to tell you, oh no, that's bad for you. Well, it's up to you if you want to believe them or not. But I can tell you the wool has been pulled over our eyes for how many years? 60 years?
1948.
When Ansel Keys tried to, he's the one that pushed this low fat thing. And you can go research it, and you'll find out there's so much evidence now that was the biggest experiment on the human population. It's all a hogwash. I mean, it's just it's a lie. We've been lied to. Low fat is not good for you. It's actually bad for you. We need to be eating animal fats and saturated fats because that's what our body needs, and that's what we've always ate for hundreds of thousands of years. And it wasn't until the 1950s, 1960s, when they started pushing this low-fat stuff, that everybody started getting sick. 50% of the population right now is either diabetic or pre-diabetic, and that's what that low-fat got us.
And
So-
gaining weight with the low fat, people were gaining weight.
Yes, gaining weight.
Well, they reduce the low, everything goes low fat,
That's
low
true.
cholesterol. The grains, the highly genetically modified grains come in. Now we're talking pushing cereals and refining carbs and starches and sugars and all this other stuff when that was never in our diet before. It was never natural. People have soy allergies, peanut allergies, all these things now that they never had before because of the food that we're eating now. Everything that we buy at the store now, unless you're shopping the outside of the store typically, is some kind of prepackaged boxed junk that has to go through a processing somewhere, and they add this to it and that to it. I get a kick out of it. I look at a gallon of antifreeze, it's got propylene glycol in it. I pick a thing of vanilla extract up, but turn it around, it's got propylene glycol in it. And they're using the same stabilizers and all these different products and stuff. So now when I go to the store, I make sure whenever I get my vanilla extract, I look around and it says alcohol. Not propylene glycol, none of this other stuff. It's a natural product that they use to extract that vanilla from the bean. Our food has so much junk in it, and since 1948, this hypothesis that he came up with was a 22-country study is what they called it. When it all came out in the wash, he only used 7 of the countries that didn't even correlate to what he was saying. Well, nothing was proved, but here the American Heart Association, American Diabetes Association all bought it.
Well, they gave a grant. Procter & Gamble was the one that actually got the American Heart Association off the ground by giving them a huge grant.
Right.
And guess what Procter & Gamble does?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, we were lied to is what it all amounts to. And once you get out there and just do some research, you can read up on it, and you'll understand that educating yourself, getting plugged into groups and people that you can follow, and don't just take our word for it. Get out there and
do your research.
That's what I did. And even when I went to my doctor the first time, my endocrinologist, I was scared because I didn't know if he was going to be on board with it or not. But when he saw my results, he said, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing." You know, he did try to talk me out of one of my medicines that I wanted to change, but as it turned out, he was okay with it. But
Are you gonna always have to take thyroid medicine?
probably yes. You might get a little bit better, but from what I've read, if you got a thyroid problem, most likely you will still have to take
There's a lot of people that reduce the medication.
Yes.
And that's fine, but I've known quite a few people over the last year that have come out of it completely. They don't take medications anymore. I got a friend from Indiana. She was the biggest pain in the butt to work with, and she became like one of my best friends. She calls me chief now. She says, "Hey boss, hey coach," because we've grown to that relationship now where she completely trusts me. And in the beginning, it was like talking to a wall. It was really hard to get through her, but she learned my personality. She learned I was no BS. I'm going to tell you like it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't worry about feelings and stuff like that. I just tell you the truth. If you can take it, you can. If you can't, you can't. Well, she was one that fought me in the beginning. And she would fight, and finally she started listening. Then she started doing it. And then she's applying and doing and making it her lifestyle. Now she's doing great. I mean, she kind of went off the path for a little bit because she started getting bored with it. She hangs around with some people that like to party a little bit, but she's back to it again, and she's going strong. And there are plenty of people like her that have come completely off the medication. It's just a matter of what you want, how bad you want it, and how much you want to turn it around and look at labels. A lot of people don't want to see what's in their products. You know, we touched on the keto slim fast stuff. You know, flip the label around and look at it, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, he says there's a new formula in the keto slim fast fat bombs. To me, I still wouldn't support that. And the reason I wouldn't support that is if they're doing it to one product, just like Pepsi did. Diet Pepsi changed their formula from aspartame to sucralose for almost a year, maybe a little longer. And I used to see right over the top of the bottle above their logo, it used to say aspartame free. So all kinds of people say, "Oh, now I can go. At least it's sugar. At least it's sucralose." Well, it's still a derivative of sugar. Anytime you see OSE at the end of a name, maltose, dextrose, sucralose, these are all derivatives of sugar, but it's low glycemic. So if somebody had a Diet Pepsi with sucralose, it probably wouldn't be that big a deal. But then why out of nowhere, there was no warning put on TV, there was no displays put up in Walmart where they say, hey, we're no longer using sucralose, we're back to aspartame again. Look at the product now. They put aspartame back in it, no warning, no nothing at all. Now the people that used to drink it think they're drinking the sucralose stuff. They're not. It's got aspartame back in it. And I'm not saying that aspartame is really all that bad for you. There's been plenty of studies that say it's bad. There's been plenty of studies that say it's good. You find out for yourself. That's on you to do your detective work.
Bob, how long has it been since I've seen you?
Probably close to 3 years.
I saw on Facebook this morning that he was coming here. I watched his progress, and so I wanted to come see what it was all about.
Yes.
And I cannot believe what I'm seeing, because like he said, that guy went around the RV. I travel full-time in RV doing music work, and I cannot believe what I'm seeing here today. It's been 3 years.
Praise God. I tell you, it's,
Yeah.
my journey was started from God. He's the one that got it started for me. And I wanted to touch on something that you said about the labels.
Yeah.
This is something, and y'all can find more information from his group and stuff. He talks about this a lot, but there's things that are, the average person, especially when you're starting out, will not, they can fool you. The big food companies try to trick you. And by law, if something has less than 1 gram of carb, they can put 0 on the box. And heavy whipping cream is one that gets a lot of people, because it says 0 carb. Well, it might be 0.9, okay, but they can put 0. So if you have, 4 tablespoons or whatever, that's almost 4 carbs.
Right.
So you have to be careful.
If it says 0, count it as 1 automatically.
Yeah, so just be very careful, especially with heavy whipping cream, because sometimes you can sit there and be pouring, and my wife, she poured way too much in her coffee. I'm sitting there, it's like a 1/4 cup, And, yeah, I've been trying to get her more and more to try to get more strict on the diet. She's not really on it. She's Asian, so she can't give up her white rice, but she doesn't need to lose weight, but she does have an autoimmune disease, a kidney disease, which she needs to get the benefits from it. So, but that's all I have really, unless,
I just want to look at the book real quick. Some of the things that you may experience if you got like arthritis and stuff like that is certain vegetables may, how many of y'all like vegetables? Y'all like vegetables? I mean, everybody likes vegetables. But there are certain vegetables that can actually increase certain conditions. So if you got arthritis and you're eating a bunch of tomatoes and peppers, you may find after a day of eating salsa and tomato and peppers and stuff like that, your joints feel a little bit more inflamed. At that point, I would suggest probably cutting out nightshade vegetables. If you eat a nightshade vegetable, what you need to look up an image of it. I can't spout off every one of them. Nightshade vegetable. Nightshade vegetables. They're chilies, peppers, tomatoes, potatoes, things of that nature. They grow a certain way. They can increase certain inflammatory conditions. Just pay attention to when you're eating your food. And if you can, no stress, keep a little log. 8 peppers, mushrooms, onions with dinner last night. The next morning, I'm not feeling so well. What do I need to look at? Probably not mushrooms. Onions, probably not really. I mean, whenever you, and this is another thing too, how many times have you had mom come put a plate of food in front of you or whatever, and your vegetables are like mashed potatoes? I mean, you can take your fork and push right through them almost. Grandma used to make them that way. And they thought, man, buttered broccoli is great. What happens to all that fiber that's inside that vegetable when you cook it that long? It's not really fiber anymore. You just broke it down and pretty much turned it to sugar. I mean, put it in there, turn it around a few times in some butter, saute it a little bit, pull it out. Have a nice little crunch to it, a little firmness to it. Don't break that vegetable down so much where you're destroying the nutrients that's inside it. So that's also a big thing.
Hey, Richard, I forgot had something else I wanted to add. I forgot. I did reverse my diabetes, by the way. I didn't tell you all that, but my A1C back in, I think it was August of 2018 was 9.2, and my A1C now is, I just had it done earlier this week. It was 5.0. So I'm no longer not even. So yeah, that means a lot to me, and all my other blood work, everything is all in order.
So I wanted to find out your Facebook pages and that your name's on Facebook or whatever.
So my public group is Keto Nation Official. And that's just a public group, and it's got like a pack of steaks as my image. It's got 3 steaks. When I have a private group as well, that's your family, your friends, nobody can be in your business. It's just the people in the group, the people you talk to every single day. And a lot of people want that. They don't want other people being able to see what they type every day and they're talking about back and forth. That group is Carnivore Keto Nation Official. And in my Facebook is the Keto Mechanic. The Keto Mechanic.
Keto mechanic.
The Keto Mechanic, and it's got a.
Well, let's touch bases on alcohol.
Let me ask you.
Okay, sugar is supposed to be the great inflammatory. Does sugar alcohol have the same effect or no?
No, sugar alcohol, there's a lot of misconception on this. A lot of people say if you're having 5 grams of erythritol or less, don't count it. It's a free, that's a gimme. Take it away from your carb count. So if you got 12 grams of carbs in something, and 5 grams are erythritol or sugar alcohol, and you know erythritol is a sweetener in that product, go ahead and just subtract it. A lot of people are running into problems doing that. It's called carb creep. Search carb creep. It's when you don't pay attention to things like that and it starts to catch up to you. I don't recommend even doing that. Anytime you see a sugar alcohol, it's part of the carb count, leave it alone, don't subtract it. Anytime you see fiber, leave it alone, don't subtract it. That's just what I do, it's what I feel safest when I coach people, when I privately do things with people. That's just the best way to do it. You don't have to do it that way. You can start taking away fiber and stuff like that, but I don't recommend it. But sugar alcohol doesn't do the same thing sugar does, no. It can cause some gassy issues. It can cause some upset stomach. It can cause some diarrhea conditions, stuff like that. Sugar alcohols can be an issue. There's a lot of them that are, and there's a lot of them that aren't. So just be careful. Do some research on it. You gotta look it up. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just touch bases on alcohol.
You can't do alcohol. But there's like I can drink a shot of whiskey right now, and 2 hours from now, test my ketones, and my ketones went from 0.8 to 2.8. Alcohol will make your ketone levels go up, but make sure it's a pure alcohol, something that's not like a real heavy sugar base. I see people do like vodka, I see people do tequila, I see people do certain kinds of whiskeys and stuff like that.
Clear.
And here's the thing is, I had a lady that was working with me privately for 4 weeks, and she said, I lost 10 pounds the first week. How come I ain't losing weight no more? And I said, well, first of all, that can be normal. You lose a lot of water weight at the beginning. A lot of water flushes almost immediately. And then you get into the fat burning. And that's probably towards the end of the 3rd or 4th week into the next month that happens. And she said, well, I ain't losing weight no more. I said, well, tell me what you're eating every single day. Well, she told me, I couldn't figure it out. She was eating everything perfectly. I talked to her again a couple days later. She said, Rich, I can't keep doing this diet. I'm not losing weight anymore. I said, I want you to tell me again what you're eating. Every freaking thing that you're putting in your mouth. Tell me. Well, I didn't tell you that every night before I go to bed, I have like a shot or 2 of whiskey. Every freaking night? I mean, are you kidding me? That's what puts you to sleep. And she said, well, it's how I sleep my best. I said, well, you better get some melatonin or something on it because that ain't working. You keep feeding yourself alcohol like that, your liver has no reason to process any fat, carbs, anything else. What it's going to do is it's going to try to get rid of that alcohol. It's a poison. So you might be trying to clear alcohol for 12 hours, 24 hours, 36, 48 hours, and when you do that every single week, you're just fighting to get right back into ketosis. Especially in the beginning. Now, if you've done this for like 6 months, and you're adapted to the lifestyle, and that's all you do is just keto, you don't cheat, you don't make exceptions for carb ups, carb cycling meals that people call it, and all this other shenanigans. You can have alcohol periodically, like every couple of weeks. Sure, have a glass of wine or something like that, low sugar wine. They have keto wines out there now, believe it or not. So you can treat yourself to that, and you can be right back into ketosis right away. But you got to get adapted to the lifestyle first. That's a treat, that's a privilege, that's not something you should be doing right out the gate.
Is it keto wine made with the artificial sweeteners or?
I don't know too much about it. I quit drinking alcohol after I started this. I might have a Bloody Mary once a year or something, but other than that, I don't touch alcohol. I don't get into all of that. That's why
So your liver processes the alcohol prior to,
Yes, ma'am. Before you get back to doing anything with keto, it gets rid of that alcohol first. So, and the next day, you're gonna feel it.
Closes the door on the fat burning.
Yeah, closes the door on the fat burning completely until it's processed out, and you're gonna feel the worst hangover you've ever felt in your life. And then eventually, as you learn the lifestyle, and as you do the lifestyle more and more and more, you're gonna get to a point where you just physically know when you can and can't have it. You know based on your relationships the week, the tasks and stuff you completed throughout the week, you're gonna know at the end of the week, I'm not really stressed right now, I'm gonna loosen up a little bit. You have your drink and you're fine. But if it's been a highly stressed week and you're using alcohol to de-wind from all that, you're doing more damage than you are doing good. It's not gonna benefit you.
I have a question too. You said something about, you eat a good bit of meat and you have a lot of protein in your diet. I have a neighbor that has gout. Would his chances increase?
I love this topic.
Do you?
No, I absolutely love this topic
Okay.
because I've done a lot of research on this.
Okay.
When you have excessive amounts of sugars and carbohydrates in your diet, inflammation goes up, gout reaction. Most people that come onto a ketogenic diet already have gout.
Mm-hmm.
They do not get gout from going keto. I've never met one person that has gout. So when they go keto, it feels 10 times better. You're gonna hear all these doctors and stuff talking about it. Science research tells you, protein, red meats and stuff like that, this causes gout. When it's never been 100% proven this is what causes gout. You might take a mechanistic study and they'll say, well, we're looking at the mechanism of this, and this is how it's supposed to, this is what we're thinking happens. And then you might go to a meta-analysis or a peer-reviewed study or something like that. They all start from some kind of hypothesis, some theory somewhere before they actually get studied. And none of them are 100% correct. So when I went straight carnivore, no vegetables, no fruits, no nothing for 1 entire year, my knees and my joints felt better than they have ever felt in my entire life. These guys back here would see me come to work, making 2 or 3 steaks and eating them at lunch, gnawing on it like I'm some kind of caveman. I felt amazing. And I didn't, mine felt better than I ever felt. And I started looking into it. How can this be true? There's a protein called NLRP3. It branches off chromosome 1. This is what causes the condition. When you have excessive sugars and stuff, your beta-hydroxybutyrate levels get brought down. That's your blood ketone. We tested with the meter. They get brought down to sometimes not even being in ketosis at all. Gout flares come up. But as long as you have that ketone, beta-hydroxybutyrate, present in your blood on a ketogenic diet, that's the anti-agent or whatever. That's the defender of gout, that NLRP3 protein. That's what starts to become active and say, nope, I'm blocking you. You're not going to be effective today. Not today, not tonight, never. And as long as that ketone stays present in your blood, people are starting to see that they don't have as much of gout flare-ups and stuff like that they've ever had in their entire life, and eventually going away completely. So this whole eating red meat, eating chicken, eating fish, all this other stuff, these animal products can cause this gout to get worse. You'll get on YouTube and you'll see vegans, you'll see all these other people talk about, oh, red meat causes this, and Dr. McDougal, whatever his name is, or something, tell you don't eat meat because this gout's gonna flare up. They want you to stop eating animal products completely. A lot of these doctors and stuff they have to go. What happens when I go to a school? I got to learn how that school does things. I put blinders on because that's all I know. Then when I come out into the real world, if I fit into a practice anywhere, I have to conform to that practice. If I change things outside of what that practice likes to, I can be pushed out of my seat. Now I'm not getting patients and stuff anymore. Now I'm having to fight for every single thing as an independent doctor, and I get no help from that medical facility anymore. So of course I have to do what they say. Of course I'm going to tell you animal products and gout and all this stuff, they're all correlated. Of course. You can't practice freely anymore without being criticized. And that's the thing, is that when people start realizing this, do more research, and you'll find there's so much information out there that contradicts what the doctors are telling us by other doctors and scientists. So that's why I tell people, just tell your doctor, look, doc, I'm doing a ketogenic diet. If you don't like it, sorry. But you're my doctor. I'm paying you. You're not paying me. This is what's going to happen. Monitor my results for me. Help me along the way. Let me know what's changing, what's not changing, and do your job. As a doctor, do your job. Because I can fire you and I can go to another doctor just the same way as I found you. There's no reason why I have to stay here. Do your job. As simple as that. You're employing them. If they don't have you, they have no job. If enough people come forward and say, do your job, I'm employing you, guess what? They have to do it.
You know, the sad part is if they would teach you and tell you the truth, you know, about changing your diet, if they would have told me that 10, 12 years ago, I wouldn't have the permanent damage that I have now.
That's right.
You know, it makes you mad. It really does. It makes me mad all the time when I think about if they had told me 12 years ago or whatever it was, if they'd have said, hey, you need to stop eating grains and, you know, processed foods and all this, if they'd have told me that, I wouldn't have lost my feeling in my legs. I wouldn't have lost a lot of my weakness in my legs. And it just infuriates me that they just keep doing it.
I can see how your neighbor would have a problem with gout the more meat he eats, especially if he's eating a regular diet. If he was to cut the other stuff out, the sugars and the refined carbs that make that gout worse, to let it start allowing your body to fight it, you're fine. When I went 1 year on a carnivore diet, people would tell me, oh, your vitamin C is going to do this. I even made a video 2 months in because I was scared. I was getting bruising on my skin. I would just bump something, I would get bruising. It was an adaptation phase. I couldn't handle all the vegetables on keto because I was following, I ain't talking bad about them, I was following Dr. Berg's recommendations of 7 to 10 cups of vegetables per day. That's a lot of freaking vegetables. And I could not do that. It was making my stomach worse. There's a lot of people that have succeeded off his method of doing keto with 7 to 10 cups of vegetables per day. So I don't want to talk bad about him. It wasn't working for me. So I started looking at Dr. Sean Baker. He's a carnivore doctor. And he promotes eating just animal products, but not forgetting about liver, not forgetting about tongue and other things, that eating the whole animal. I'm not telling you guys to do that. I'm telling you this is my story. I went for 1 year eating animal products and only maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times adding some mushrooms in, or maybe like a little spinach, to see if I healed, see if I could actually start taking it. In about 1 year, the beginning of January, I was fine. I did the last 30 days, all keto, plenty of vegetables, no flare-ups in my belly anymore, no digestive problems, no nothing at all. So I used a meat-based diet for an entire year to heal what was left wrong with me.
Did
Now
you
I
lose
went,
weight then?
say that again?
Did you lose weight?
I lost another 30 pounds while I was doing it. So now I'm back into losing weight again. This past week alone, I lost 3.5 pounds, and now I'm going back into my weight loss phase. There's processes you have to go through. I was big out here like this. I mean, you see me when I started my job up in Chicago or whatever. I have pictures that if you get on my Facebook, you'll see. I was a big dude. I had no muscle mass in me, no nothing at all. I was weak, and I'm completely different compared to what I used to look like in my strength levels and stuff now. So 1 year of nothing but animal products healed me. And they'll tell you, well, vitamin C. Well, you're not eating vitamin C, so you're going to get sick. I didn't get sick. Actually, there's enough trace vitamin C in animal meat in general, and in liver and stuff. There's an abundance of vitamin C that's more bioavailable than in vegetables. Your body can use it quicker, faster, uptake better. And when you reduce sugar and carbohydrates, you have, I don't want to get too crazy with this. And people start getting confused and I don't want to listen anymore. You have transporters, GLUT5, GLUT4, transporters in your body that compete with vitamin C. So if you have glucose and vitamin C, your glucose is always going to hit that transporter first. You're not going to uptake vitamin C properly. So if I reduce my sugar, now I don't need as much standard American diet recommendation vitamin C. The reason they have our recommended amounts jacked up so high is because we have so much sugar in our diet anyway, we have to. Once you reduce all the sugar and get it out, guess what? You can function on almost a quarter of what they recommend. Because there's no compete anymore with sugar. Your body can use what's readily available. I did 1 year, no supplementation, no nothing at all. All I did was take vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and omega every single day. Vitamin D3, almost 80% of the population is deficient in vitamin D3. I bet you if some of you go get your labs done right now, you're going to see 25, 30, 35 in your vitamin D count, when it needs to be up around 50 or higher. You don't want it to be too high, but you also don't want it to be down 25, 30, 15. So I have to take vitamin D3 every day. I don't spend enough time in the sun. There's nowhere in the United States where you can stand out for 4 hours or more and get enough vitamin D. You have to be down around the equator somewhere. And there are certain countries where they don't have vitamin D because they're around the equator. And the sun is more, they're exposed to more sunlight. It's more pure sunlight. And we don't have as much of that. So I take vitamin D3 every day and vitamin K2 every day with a really good quality omega. And it seems that I heal fine off that, so I don't supplement. Keto isn't helpful for me.
What's the K2 for?
K2 is to help remove calcium from your blood. So if you take vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 together, they really help remove calcium. They speed up the uptake of calcium. Nothing gets stored away, plaque on our arterial walls or anything like that. I can't say nothing, but it helps tremendously when you take K2 and D3 together.
Tell me about your thoughts on water.
Some people are going to tell you, drink half your body weight in ounces of water. Well, I was almost 400 pounds. That's 200 ounces of water per day. So if you go to a gym and you sign up for a trainer that's supposed to be almighty and all-knowing, he's going to tell you to drink half your body weight in ounces of water. Some doctors will even tell you that. You're going to be sick too. You're going to flush all your electrolytes. There's no reason to gorge yourself with that much water. I tell people typically responding to your appetite, your satiation, your water satiation level, listening to your body, drink throughout the day is going to yield you the best results. But the old standard recommendation of 64 ounces of water a day, 8-ounce glasses of water a day, was actually a pretty good recommendation. 64 to like 100 ounces of water a day is what most people will have. But if you just listen to your body, normally I'm going and grabbing a 16-ounce glass of water and I drink it, and I feel fine. I get up in the middle of the night, if I go to the bathroom, I want to grab another big old giant glass of water, I drink it. No big deal. And then the next day, if I track what I do in a 24-hour period, guess what? I'm somewhere around 80 to 100 ounces of water anyway. I listen to my body. And really, to know whether or not you're hydrated, you look at the color of your urine. If your urine is a light straw-colored urine, you got some pretty good hydration going on. Remember back in the high school days, Coach, well, I don't know, on the football team, we used to go, man, it looks like you're dehydrated over there. What do you mean, because I have yellow urine? Yeah. In the military, they stand there and watch you do your urine test after the weekend. And your sergeant's right there standing next to you. Hey, what are you doing, boy? Boy, you're peeing in a cup. So you do it right in front of them and watch it. It's yellow. Oh, man, you had too much beer, so you dehydrated. Well, I mean, they think that clear urine is healthy urine. That's not healthy urine. You don't have a little yellow color to your urine. You don't have proper electrolyte balance. It's the exact opposite of what we've been being told. So if you look at it, a clear, light straw-colored urine is perfect. Not dark yellow and it's smelly, you're really dehydrated. Not super, super clear, because if it's super, super clear, you're flushing electrolytes. You have to have a balance between potassium, sodium, and water.
I found whenever I was eating the standard American diet with all the highly refined carbs and sugars and stuff, that I stayed thirsty more, and I drank a lot more water than I do now. Now I don't drink near as much.
It's just because your appetite and everything's just super, super under control. Your body's loving what you're doing. I mean, I don't really crave the junk anymore. I can go to my favorite restaurant back in Chicago when I'm visiting my parents, and now they have a meat-based pizza on the menu. It's a meat crust pizza. I don't even have to go get regular pizza anymore. Most of these restaurants are all starting to switch over to keto-style food. Or you don't even have to ask, when you go to a restaurant and order food, you can say, hey, can I see a manager's menu? Some of them have manager's menus that tell you everything that's in that product. And say, hey, when you first get there, I am a diabetic, I have severe medical conditions, I need to make sure there's no sugars in this product. Oh, they'll freak out. They'll freak out. You want to call an ambulance for me right now? Put something in there that's not supposed to be in there, I'll be on the floor shaking. And they'll make sure what you put in your food, when they make your... They'll make sure when you get your food is right. So when I go to the restaurant, I order steaks, broccoli, cauliflower, salads. You can eat the house ranch dressing, but typically they do have some kind of sugar in it. So I take a lot of my own. Like I might even make I'll leave it in my car. Like I'll have a little bottle of ranch that I make at the house. I make homemade ranch, homemade barbecue sauce. I make a lot of my own dressings where I take like an apple cider vinegar or a coconut vinegar with the mother, and I'll take some olive oil, avocado oil, some Italian herb seasoning. I mix it all up, maybe salt it a little bit, put some olives down in there, and I leave it in the refrigerator for about a week. At the end of the week, it's all. It's heavenly. I just make my own dressing. I don't need to go buy dressing at the store and stuff anymore. I make my own mayonnaise, so I don't. The dressing at the store has got canola oil and stuff like that in it. So,
did you talk about that about the stuff to stay away from, the oils and?
I touched on it a little bit, whenever, well, a little bit. So like mayo, it'll have canola oil in it, it'll have soy oil in it. You gotta make sure you're not getting stuff like, you can look at a bottle of like Hellman's mayonnaise. I'm not trying to use the name and not trying to slander their name, but I've called them up and I've done this research with them. I've actually went back and forth with them, like, why can you not make a mayonnaise that doesn't have soy oil in it? Why is everything that you put on it have to have soy oil in it, canola oil in it? These are not healthy for people. Well, I'm sorry, this is what we're making. We do have
So
no.
that's not a healthy fat.
No. Canola oils, soy oils, vegetable oils. Some people use peanut oil, but that's still not a good omega balance. It's still not considered a healthy fat to me. I use just olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, any kind of like lard, tallow, bacon grease that I rendered myself and I saved as cooking. Any kind of real butter. I mean, real butter where you flip it around and it says salt, enzymes, dairy, and that's it. No country crock junk, no blue bonnet junk, no none of that stuff. I have a video up where I take a piping hot pan and I put a tablespoon of real butter on one side and a tablespoon of country crock junk on the other side. And it doesn't even have a chance to evaporate on a country crock. It pops and disintegrates like it goes into the air while the regular butter is still melted right there and it's a little smoky, just like real butter does, and it's left with 2 plastic nuggets in the bottom of the pan. And the real butter is still there 3 days later, just as good as it was when I put it in there. There's something to that. It's junk.
It's one molecule away from being plastic.
And I got that from a person that works at the factory that makes the stuff. I was at Walmart and I was looking at all the different butters and I do a video right in front of people, right while they're grabbing their butter. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a junk butter right here. You don't want to have that because people get upset. They get upset. But I'm telling them the truth. I don't care. I want you to know the truth. A lady sat with me last night for 20 minutes and I talked to her about nothing but every single butter that was on that shelf. She wanted to know. She said it's sad because poor people can't afford
That's the truth.
the better butter.
Yep.
I said, so I apologize. And I said, I'll buy that butter for you. If you just put that down, and I'll buy the butter for you and show it. And I want you to know I'm sincere when I do it. I'm not lying to you. She said, no, it's all right. I really like it where it's spreadable. I don't want to fight that stick. I said, so why don't you let it sit out on the counter a little while?
Yeah.
It's soft, you can spread it. You
I
can leave
started
it.
using real butter, I guess, about 8 months ago, and I bought a butter dish and keep it on my counter.
I keep mine on all the
It's
time.
so much better.
So
Never goes
It
bad.
tastes
a
better.
lot of popular stuff with keto is Kerrygold.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
Kerrygold, they have it at Walmart, it's in a gold package, it
What
says
is it?
Kerrygold, it's grass-fed butter. It's not perfectly grass-fed butter, but it's the best butter you can buy, and there's another one called Vital Farms.
Yeah.
And if you go, my favorite one of all, and the cheapest one of all, if you go to Sam's Club, over by the meat department, where they got all the cheeses in those coolers that kind of go, the smaller row coolers, so you can just go up and grab stuff without opening the door. Right next to Kerrygold, they got a 4-pack of Finlandia. It's Finlandia, Finlandia. It's right on a grass-fed butter from like Finland, and it's $3.99 a pack, and you get 4 sticks. Well, Kerrygold's like $2 or $3 more, and you get half the butter. So Finlandia, Kerrygold, Vital Farms, these are all grass-fed butters that are really good. And the question that usually pops up when you do this is, do I have to eat grass-fed meat? Do you think you have to eat grass-fed meat? Do you think
Better for you.
supposed to be? There's a lot of controversy on that too.
Well,
Well,
it depends on how many hormones you want in your
so
body.
all, people can argue with you until the cows come home. All beef at some point has been grass-fed. You can't have a calf and put it right on grain right away while mama's over there feeding it or something like that. They gotta put it to grass or some kind of feed, some kind of grass, some kind of way. So if these people by law wanted to put all these products are grass-fed, they could all do it. But there are third-party companies that are brought in that make sure they're not lying to you. Maybe they're grass-fed for the bulk of their life, but then 3 months before they go to slaughter, grain. So there is nothing that is 100% grass-fed, grass-finished, unless the product states it and they're a certified company. So recently those sausages I found in Costco. Costco has a package of like beef sausages, I think they're beef sausages, but they're supposed to like assimilate like Polish sausage or something like that. And it says right on T-E-T-O-M.
Yeah, I got some too, yeah.
And it says grass raised, grass finished, it's got the stamp on it that proves a third-party company has certified it. They're a phenomenal company, but you're not gonna find many companies like that. Most people get fined by conventional food.
We can only hope more and more come.
More and more people are starting to go to more grass-fed styles. I mean, it's not so many people are starting to actually see the world wants to change.
Well,
So-
my biggest concern,
But regular meat is fine. Regular meat you buy is
but all
fine.
the hormones and everything that's in
That's my
it.
concern as well.
We can only do so much, right?
Do
If you
what
wanna
you can
go buy-
afford.
Do what you can afford. If you can
Right.
afford grass meat and if it's not gonna hurt your budget, then you buy grass meat. It's got better omegas and stuff in it, they say. I've seen people that say they've actually studied it independently, not being a part of an organization at all. They actually went out like a guy like me that I won't be a part of anybody's organization. I'm always gonna do my own thing. If they don't like it, it's too bad. I'm gonna go see four or five farms this year because I want the video and I want to make sure they're telling the truth. I wanna go show people what's going on in their operations. I wanna be the eyes of the people so they know they're not being lied to. So I'm going to these farms to make sure living styles are good. They've offered me to come. Sure, we have nothing to hide. Come see our operation. I like that. I like people that don't hide anything. But if you can't afford it, you don't have to do it. Just regular meat. We don't know what hormones, we don't know anything. I've heard beef coming out of Puerto Rico has so much estrogen injected into it that it's unreal. But if you look at that pack of beef that is sitting right there, some of them don't have an origin on them. Some of them say this is from Finland or something like that. Well, why are you buying Finland meat? We're over here in the United States. What's the difference? We can get it from Texas, we can get it from Pollock, in my hometown. There's a called the Butterfield Farms in Pollock.
Oh, they have good meat.
I heard they have phenomenal meat. I did not even know about them. Nobody talks about them. I called them Butterfield Farms and I said, sir, can I come and film your operation? He said, absolutely. I don't have nothing to hide and I love the exposure. We do everything perfect here. We don't mess with it with no hormones, no nothing. They're grass-fed cows. And he said, sure. And he said, actually, if you get on my program where you're buying a quarter cow at a time, I'll actually get you the grass-fed beef down to around about $8.50 a pound, $9 a pound. That's cheap compared to what's on the store. $17 to $25 a pound for grass-fed beef. So that guy's doing me a favor. And I'm worried about my health in the process. So yes, they say grass-fed meat has higher omegas to it. It's healthier for you. Hormones aren't, as rampant or rampant through the body, but I don't have a problem with conventional meat. I go to Kroger and I buy the meat that's on sale and I'm fine.
They started carrying pure butter from Ireland. And the manager told me the last 2 times I was in there, I couldn't find it. He says that every time I put it out, it's sold.
And Kroger?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I went by
They
there.
just started carrying, it's in a gold.
Yeah, Kerrygold.
That's probably Kerrygold.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Kerrygold.
It
Yeah,
is-
it's over there. But they also have real butter of their own brand. They have a spreadable real butter with olive oil now. And they don't use canola oil or anything like that. It's real butter with olive oil.
Sea salt's in there.
Yeah, sea salt.
I don't know if that's in.
And I used it and I had no problems at all with it. It melts just like regular butter. I've never had a problem with it so far, so I would say that's probably a good butter.
Yeah, you
I
can
think
take
it
that
has a
out,
nice
refrigerator, and
taste, too.
spread it.
Yeah. What else? Let me see. I had some stuff that, before you guys.
They had an article in the Today Show, must have been about a month ago.
If y'all get a chance to watch the Skinny on the Fat series, there's a lot of good information in that.
Montel Williams.
Montel Williams and Naomi Whittle. It was a series that was on. I don't know if they'll replay it again. I actually
Find
bought
it on
it.
YouTube.
I forgot to tell you about it. I bought the whole thing.
I think it's the Skinny on Fat. Skinny on Fat. There's also a Netflix show called The Magic Pill.
Yes, yes, very good.
It's not perfectly explained, but it's pretty close. So, be careful with dairy. If you're gonna leave here with anything, be careful with dairy. On a ketogenic diet, you're gonna want cheeses, you're gonna want sour cream, you're gonna want different types of dairy, heavy whipping cream for your coffee and stuff like that. If you get a heavy whipping cream to put in your coffee, to like give some cream to your coffee, try to find something to say carrageenan free. Carrageenan is made from like a seaweed, and it can raise inflammatory markers. Some people try to get stuff that says carrageenan free. So be careful with dairy, limit it, don't use a lot of it. Just try to keep it as clean as you possibly can. The urine strips are fine, but the keto mojo meter is the best way to check your ketones to see if you're in ketosis.
So is the point is only, the level is to get down as low as you can to 0.5,
No, high.
get higher.
And it's not really a goal to get as high as you can, the goal is to just be it. So point five or
So,
above.
okay, that's what, okay.
Some people will be up to 2, some people are 2.5, some people are around 0.9. There's no science, there's no statistics that says because you have higher ketones in the urine, you lose more weight. It doesn't work that way.
As long as you're in it, you're in it.
As long as you're in it, you're in it.
You ate that deep.
That's right. You want to have a little higher than 0.5, but 0.5 to start.
Well, I've been reading a lot of
You might be
discussion about that, you know, so have you can.
Who likes the scale?
Let's go.
Who likes getting on the scale and being told you're overweight every single time?
Yeah.
So quit using it. And when you start keto, you get on it, you pick your starting weight and put it away. Don't come back to it for a couple of weeks, a month. Just stay off it completely. Don't worry about it. If you want to know true success, keep a couple sets in your baggy clothes around, at least one set. And as you lose weight, it's so amazing the day that you're down, the day that you feel like you're about to quit, the day that you feel like you're going to give up and you just cannot do it no more. Going and putting on them jeans that sit out here like this, you have to go down to see your shoes. That is your scale. That is the most amazing feeling in the world. I don't need a scale for that. If you really want to know even more what's going on, pick a section of a wall in your house somewhere where you don't care about writing a few words on it. That's your wall. Nobody's to touch it. You only. And get some Scotch tape. Go to the store, hardware store or something. Go to the thrift store and get some yarn. Tape your belly button all the way around. Have somebody take a picture of you so you know you're in the same spot. Somebody you trust. Or if you could do it yourself, do it yourself. Put a piece of string around you. Cut it to the wall, waistline. Let that string hang. The next time, left arm, right arm, neck, chest. Have your own little section for each piece of string. The next week, the next 2 weeks, the next 3 weeks, do it again. Oh man, look at the difference between that string and that string. What happened? I lost weight. But the scale is not telling me that. I lost weight. Well, see, what happens is your fat cells deplete and they fill up with water again. So sometimes it's called the whoosh effect. You may wake up one morning and see you're 5 pounds down. It's because overnight you dumped all that water. Your cells were ready to lose all that water, but you won't see that. You'll be hard on yourself. You'll think I didn't do it right. I did everything wrong until you look at that piece of string and you see, I know I did it right. That scale won't mean nothing. I just lost 2 inches in the last 3 weeks. Look at the difference in that string and this string right here. And as you go, you can see your string is shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, and you're like, man, this is awesome. The scale is not your friend. Not your friend at all. Get a starting weight, track periodically if you want. The main thing is old clothes, take yourself to a string. Write it on the wall, keep track of your progress that way. That's it.
You can just up your
Hopefully we can do this again, you guys come back for this more.
You can just up your carbs just a little bit. Like you up your carbs. You know, you can up those a little bit. Eat a little bit more like sweet potatoes. You know, more healthier carbs. What is that? Well, that tell you what your blood sugar is. I just hope he wants to check his blood sugar.
Yeah, I'm trying to find
I told you he didn't want to feel bad. You heard me tell you going.
What did that? It was an entices.
I thought that was my dirty. I'm sorry.
Which one was his latest book? The diabetes or the obesity?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know where I put it down. That little-
Have you been doing keto?
No, ma'am. I just came to see Bob. Revivals and Baptists like me.
He lost his the Lancet thing. Maybe it's in the box here. Yeah, here it is. Here it is, Richard.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
I'm not sure how this one works. There it is. Yeah. good. No, you don't have to press it, just push it in.
You don't have to.
Let's see, I think, yeah, I'm seeing, sometimes they'll have,
And I'll put my baby.
depending on how much you want it set to. It's 3. Just hold it down in there. Yeah, you just push that down. How do you make it go? Maybe there's a button right there.
And then, yeah, made her bottle couldn't do it.
You gotta get a good amount of blood for this meter to work.
So green beans can be done, but green beans are still like the beans. They might have
Touch it
higher
right
risk,
on the very
but
tip of it.
still have no problem.
And then you come out. 0.7, that's very keto.
What did you say?
0.5 or higher. Yes. Mine do. Oh, yes. Mine sometimes is usually in the morning 1.5, 1.8 up to 2.9 in the evening.
I guess I'm doing it right.
So,
Yeah, go try some of that food. I was checking my blood to see if I'm Thank you so much.
This is just blood.
What was the one?
What kind of music do you do? Oh, no. What did you say? Yes, sir.
Okay. Then your small finger. No, you don't have to squeeze it yet.
What church it was to? I was born in
The one on Main Street, they call it First Baptist.
Yeah.
Want to wait? That's not too bad. Not too bad. After cheesecake.
That cheesecake was delicious.
So that's not too bad considering you ate the cheesecake. It's not too bad.
I love it.
I know, I know that.
Well, it'll still bump you up a little bit.
Yeah. What was your last name, Bob?
Schindler. It's like Schindler.
Okay.
And I like Ronnie. Mills that.
I remember that. I remember that.
She'll be
Trust me, I get this down there.
If you're not tracking
I just see nobody else that came home. Just came in from Destin, I think it's the first time I've met 1,500 people. And I get a testimony. And everybody always says, you can't ride me, brother. That's what my brother says, but I don't give it to you.
Yeah. Where's that going?
Take the love off.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
I endorse it. I'm never taking it.
And your first name again, Mr. Gilson?
Steve.
Steve.
I'm on the river.
Oh, okay. We lived in Albany for a year and a half.
Well, I've been doing it.
Oh, my God, I love
March
it.
of 12.
Try to get close to the traditional kind.
We started having some health issues. My husband had a TIA and our daughter was like, okay, I can't take care of you if you're in the camper, so we had to buy a little house, but, it's been a blessing either way it goes, you know, so.
The other day, me and my husband went and we driving
I don't
to the barbecue spot.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
You're in
Yeah, well, it sure helped me out a lot.
Oh, God, I couldn't believe it.
I know we were at one spot, and they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, you got to lay with kids, and you can eat this, you don't.
You got what, 3
Y'all
hours
know,
on?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around for a little bit, I was gonna see what he's trying to
You know,
do.
that's you.
I don't know if I
Don't try to like, don't try to.
let's figure out long way to do.
Right.
Don't try to think about it.
Yeah, I can-
If you don't feed yourself enough, a lot of times you don't. You start with me, I'm looking for starvation mode, and when I just drive out, I start feeding me.
Somebody knocking on the door.
No, that's me.
Sir, I wanted to ask you a question, I'm sorry. We wanted to get together and have a keto party, and so basically we would have the bar and then, we would have a workout, guy too, that's supposed to come in and do the 2 or 3 minute workouts. And then we would go to the work area, which is basically, cooking a small cuisine, to show him, this is what it takes to make him look happy. And I'm supposed to start at least 1 party a month. And I didn't know if you were in the area. Okay,
I'm here every day on this.
okay, so I wanna give you my card, I don't, daycare, but that's the information, I'm definitely gonna message you to let you know when we start getting everything started. And so when our first party is, so we'll just keep in contact. Thank you so much, this is what I need, this is what we're trying to do. My name is Andrea Elder, and I listen to your what you
Same with the group, when I started, my wife, and I was making music at that time. She was diagnosed with that.
What are you gonna do the rest of the day? I was thinking,
I was trying to do music after December of 11. And I didn't.
no, I'm not gonna spend the night, I gotta get back to the church. I'd love to sometime, have when I got more time, I need to go take out, so I haven't worked out in about 3 days, I guess.
Did you do,
Right now, I just like riding a bicycle. Things like that, and I do that, and I lean up against my door. And do
How God changes.
don't wait, just.
Sorry, guys, we're just over here talking. I'm gonna go ahead and end this live now. I appreciate you being here.